But I do want to like throw it out there for like players. If you feel like you're a little bit too aggressive, if you feel like you're pushing stuff a little bit too much, or maybe you rotate too quickly, if you're playing against good players, that can be punished very easily. If you're ready for this, I haven't done one of these in a very long time. But today I decided I wanted to do a VOD review. We've been doing these for the patrons, or that's where I have them submit them, and we're probably going to do maybe like one or two a week. I think it'll be fun for the YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested in that, or you're looking for any sort of VOD reviews and stuff, that's what we're going to be doing them. I have one today. It's from our player Bobik in chat. I don't think he's here right now, but he is in the Discord, so I'll probably add him in it when I end up doing this. Basically, when I do these, I don't go over the entirety of the VOD. I don't want to watch 40 minutes of gameplay on stream and talk over every little thing that I see, because a lot of the times there's rounds where he just did all right. Like he didn't, or like maybe he just didn't do anything. Like he was just sitting on the other side of the map. His team killed him all. I don't think it's worth your time, so I don't want to waste your time. What I do is I basically timestamp different points throughout the VOD, and I'll go through them and I'll kind of talk about them there. So we're gonna go over, I think it was 3 rounds that I had marked down where I just wanted to talk about little things. So it's not like I'm gonna be looking over like very basic things where I'm like, your crosshair placement was pretty bad here, or like, hey man, you were running and shooting right here. Basically what I'm going to be going over is some smaller things that I noticed that might be beneficial to him and also might be beneficial to you if you're playing in your games. Maybe they're little things that you don't pick up on. So we'll go through that. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel down below. It does help us out. You can also check us out on Twitch, where we have all these lovely people. Yeah, and we're going to get into it. Now, something I noticed with this is that like he wasn't playing terribly, but he was playing over on B site. And his team was having trouble holding A. And something I wanted to kind of critique here is that, like, if you're ever alone on one site and it seems like your team is having trouble holding another site, what I would suggest is kind of throwing it out to your team, like, hey, I could swap somebody on A if you think that would work. And not because, like, necessarily Sova is the best player to play on A site. He's not terrible. He's all right. But the big reason here is that just trying something new can be really good, especially if your team's struggling, right? They do end up 3-0 here, but what ends up happening is that the enemy team basically just ends up going A a lot, and they end up just taking some rounds just on A site. Like right here, they lose a round. It looks like they're on B, I think, this site. But the next round, they're going to go A probably, and the next round, they're going to end up going A. And what ends up happening is I think they go like 6-6 on this defense. You see Bobik is retaking now. He has to come in for this retake. He's been running Odin a lot. And again, the issue here isn't that they're pushing B and he can't hold B. The issue is that he's playing B and he's playing pretty well, but they never come to his site. What happens is the Cypher's just lurking outside of B, and the enemy team's just going A every single round, and they're kind of just winning on A. And then he has to come in for a retake every single round. So I think they're just switching it up here. They end up switching it up when I think on the 10th round of the game. But at that point, it's a little bit too late, right? You think they went 6-6. Imagine if they switched this up a little bit earlier, and instead of going 6-6, they end up going 7-5 or like 8-4 or whatever. You know. Beyond that, something that I wanted to comment on is that if you are the 4 players on site and you're struggling to hold something, what you can do is you want to play a little bit more proactively. And what I mean by that is that if you're getting hard pushed on a site, and you're just sitting back and letting it happen, then you're not really doing anything to like push to stop that, right? So what I would recommend in this situation, and this is something I do, or I try to do a lot on stream or like with my friends when you watch me play, is I'll try to like double up an angle or get a little bit aggressive, take control of an area, and rather than responding to their aggression, you're going to give them some aggression of your own, and hopefully you can shut some stuff down. So maybe they try to push up A main and take control of A main one round. Or maybe they have like a player sit in the corner next to the double box and they just hide there, and then they have somebody bait for that player. Maybe somebody in tree, maybe somebody on generator even. Just try to pull the crosshair and pull the attention away from this player, so this player can come up big on this play. If you have 4 players on a site, there's really no reason that you should be losing this site, right? Maybe you can drop like a brimstone molly, slow down a push, just use like all of your utility just to make sure they don't come in here. They do have a killjoy on this site as well. That's something that I think a lot of players struggle with in solo queue, and this is something I was saying to Lucas last night when we were playing. I think as players, a lot of people on defense, they feel like it's better for them to be playing reactively because you are the defense, right? You have to react to what the offense is doing. But rather than thinking about it like that, think of it as the map is an area where like you're trying to occupy control of the map, right? So rather than just giving the enemy team B and like not taking anything away from them, what you could do is if they're going to take B main, you could take A main and just hold A main or something like that. What Bobic could have done here potentially is maybe pushed up B main and taken control of that just in case they do ever try to rotate, but unfortunately they are taking the A site most of the time here. But that's what I would have recommended, is just getting a little bit more aggressive as a team. Maybe would have helped them right here, or just switching up his position a little bit earlier. But so he's going to start out this round over here on A site outside of it, doing a little bit of a lurk. He's kind of setting up a default over here on A. He does this very frequently where he'll just like drone out A lane or like just launch an arrow or something like that. That arrow isn't like not uncommon for him to do so. Drones out in main. I actually like this a lot. That was a good arrow, by the way. It does land in a tree. Bap was commenting on the lineup. No, it lands in tree and it basically spots out that whole area, which is really cool. I don't see that arrow enough, but the drone out of A main is just looking for info there. Did they push up A main or anything like that? Spots out the Phoenix in tree. Now he knows Phoenix is B, or A, sorry, in tree. He's going to go up. He does grab this orb here. He did drone, so it's not super dangerous, but you do have to remember that somebody could push up here, but it seems pretty unlikely because they have a lot of pressure over on B main. This orb's probably pretty free, so I don't have any critiques over that. I like to really avoid commenting on like rounds where things didn't go wrong. I hate talking about things that like could have been. But this is definitely a round where there's a little bit of an error. So you'll notice the Killjoy turret is going to spot a player over here on catwalk. The man's walking up middle. He does have a stinger, which is a little bit dangerous, but I mean, it's not too crazy at this point. This round's like, they kind of need to make something happen here. And I don't have a critique about this push right here. What he notices is that turret gets killed by the Phoenix player right here. And you'll notice he takes this engagement and he's going to lose it. This is very subtle, and I don't have any like, I'm not here to like flame this guy, right? He's trying to do his best here. He's in a 2v5. He needs to make something happen. A pretty unlikely round at this point in time anyway. Like not a lot going well for them right here. But
we should
backside.
Boat.
I don't know if you heard that, but he took a step right there. He tried to swing around this corner, assuming the Phoenix was going to be here, which is not a terrible call. But the problem is that after he swung around this corner, he made noise. It was subtle, but he made noise, and the Phoenix ends up hearing this, and this is why this turns out rough. And you might think, okay, well, shit, like, he had a stinger in this engagement. What should he have done? He slow peeks this doorway after making noise, and I think that this is why he ends up losing this encounter. I don't know if this was, like, favorable for him at all, but, I mean, he does have a stinger, and we've all been killed by the stinger at, like, ridiculous ranges sometimes. Like, we know how strong the stinger could be. He could definitely win this engagement, but when he's slow peeking this, what ends up happening is the Phoenix is at, like, a little bit of an off angle. Like, he's pushing out a little bit, but this is definitely not an angle that he was expecting the Phoenix to be at, and he ends up losing that engagement. Because the Phoenix knew he was here. Maybe before, like, the Phoenix maybe wasn't expecting him to be pushing up here, but because he does hear this step, he definitely should have wide swung this, and it would have given him a better chance. Not saying that he would have won it, but it would have given him definitely a better chance. You don't want to slow peek something when somebody knows that you're there, and that unfortunately results in his death. Now, I'm not saying that they would have won the round if he gets the pick on this Phoenix, but it's definitely possible. Like, you won 2v4s before. He gets a kill on the Phoenix. He was able to take control of, like, tree or site even. Maybe the enemy team has rotated. Maybe he can make something happen here, but unfortunately ends up going down here, and the Killjoy is going to go down shortly after as well. It is unfortunate, but again, not a massive critique there, but it is those little things that I think are helpful to look at, especially when you feel like you've been playing well in a game. So what you're going to see right here is his team has already taken control of B site. It's a 4v2 right now, and him and his Reyna are going to make an aggressive play. Now, what he's trying to do here, I actually see what he's trying to do. His Reyna is pushing up. He's trying to back up his Reyna right now. But the problem is this is a very close game. I think it's 8-8 right now. And they're trying to push up on this 4v2. There's a Reyna alive. There's a Brimstone alive. They're assuming they're in spawn. But when they go for these engagements, Reyna actually ends up getting picked. And then Bobic is going to get picked shortly after losing his engagement to that Reyna. He did tag her 1 of 5, but unfortunately, that's just how Reyna works, right? She's just going to heal up. And now he's put his team into a 2v2. And unfortunately, his Brimstone's pretty far away and also really low HP. So the enemy team probably has some sort of idea where Brimstone's at because he took an engagement. And then they have some sort of idea where the Phoenix is at, probably on site. If this Phoenix actually goes down here, the Brimstone doesn't have ulti or anything. He's on 30 HP. This is definitely a winnable round for the defense right now. And it's because of the aggression from these two players right here. And I understand looking for these picks. I understand that. I think it's a lot better if you're in a less close game. When it's 8-8, it's a little bit more dangerous to go looking for these picks. You kind of do need this round right now. But more importantly, what I wanted to comment on, the reason I'm commenting on this is because I noticed that Bobic is a very he's kind of a antsy player a little bit. He seems to want to rotate fast, and like I think that this is just kind of like a sign of where that aggression kind of can backfire. Right here, he ends up getting punished for it a little bit. They don't end up winning the round. But I noticed on defense too, he would rotate very quickly. He'd be sitting over on B site, and then like he would immediately rotate A. And like we said earlier, that's because they had been taking A a lot, and they've been doing a lot of A hits. But if he ends up going against a team that actually is able to catch on to this, like he's a little antsy, maybe he wants to rotate quickly, it can be punished very easily. So it doesn't get super punished in this game, but I do want to like throw it out there for like players. If you feel like you're a little bit too aggressive, if you feel like you're pushing stuff a little bit too much, or maybe you rotate too quickly, if you're playing against good players, that can be punished very easily. Maybe they have this lurk player, the Cypher, who is playing over on B every round. Maybe he notices that he's rotating quickly. He's able to push up on B and get behind them and stuff. It could definitely be pretty bad for his team. They definitely could have lost this round. They don't end up losing this round. And like I commented earlier, I don't love to comment on rounds where it's like, oh, well, this went bad, but it could have not. But he does end up getting picked here. And he does also acknowledge that, hey, I kind of threw there, which is like good. At least having like the sense to know when you mess up, I think is really good for players. So that's something I would definitely comment on. You should definitely be aware when you kind of throw. It happens, but I did want to comment on it. He does seem a little antsy. Something that I remember hearing about Brax when people talked about him in CSGO, I remember people saying like it wasn't his aim or like his game sense that was really really cool about watching Brax play. It was more so the fact that he was so young, but he was also like incredibly patient and disciplined. And I try to model that some of that in my own play, but especially on rounds like this where it's like 8-8, just sitting back on site, they could have easily won this round just sitting in hell. Like literally, if 3 of them sat in hell and they just like chilled there, there's no way the defense is winning that round. But unfortunately, because of this push, it ends up with 2 of them dying, and it probably could have been a lot safer. But I do think that's a cool perspective, though. Just incorporating a little bit of patience into his play style, I think would help him a lot. But that was a couple of bad plays. Let's show a really good play that I watched. This was like the first play of the replay that I was just like, okay, man. So you're gonna see him, Bobic, coming in. He's gonna be doing his A retake as normal, as we talked about. Gonna be coming on in here through A heaven. He's got the shock dart lineups right here. He's a very good Sova player. Using his lineups right here. He's gonna be picking up a kill with these shock darts. Actually, lands right on the sage. Now he's got the recon coming in. Look at this drone, just spotting anyone out. Sees 2 gen, and he spots the one right there. Look at this jump, dude. Keeping the gen between those 2 players over there. Able to land the kill, surprising that player. That was a sexy play, man. I was just really impressed watching this with this jump. I'm not sure if this is a jump that he's done before. He's like practiced it, but just the way that he landed right here, he lands perfectly so the gen is like at his right side, so they can't shoot him. And he's ended up taking down that Phoenix right there. That was just so clean, man. I really respected this play, so I wanted to show that off a little bit there. That was a really strong play from Bobic, but thank you for sending this in. We'll be doing more of these for patrons, so if you guys wanted to take part in this, we do have a form in the Patreon that I'm going to be posting if you guys wanted to submit them there. And then other than that, I appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel down below and check us out on Twitch, where we have all these lovely people. I'll see you guys in the next video.